Do you ever wonder how this jazz improv thing works? In this video, you'll get to peek underneath the hood and see what's really going on inside the mind of a soloist. Hi, my name is Jason Klobnak and I'm a jazz trumpeter from Denver, Colorado that helps musicians find a better way to improvise. If you're looking for a quick jazz improv tip that will help your soloing, then you've come to the right place. How does this improv thing really work? What goes on inside the mind of a soloist? The answer to this age-old question is that it varies. There's no one way that every human mind puts this all together. Instead of pontificating on what someone else might have been thinking, it might be more useful to actually go inside the mind of someone who can tell you what they were thinking. A few videos back, I recorded a quick 2-chorus example over the changes to Tad Dameron's Lady Bird. During one of his lessons, fellow trumpeter Ken Hales decided to transcribe my solo from that video to see exactly what I was doing. We then spent a recent lesson breaking down the transcription and looking at my thought process. In this video, you're going to get a few of those insights too. Before we break it down though, it might be helpful to hear that solo. One of the first questions Ken had was, how much of this solo was pre-planned in advance? The only elements I had predetermined was an initial idea of how to start it and where my harmonic targets were. Other than that, it was fully improvised in one take. Before we get into specific examples, it might be helpful to know what harmonic targets mean, since it's a big part of my thought process and method. Instead of looking at ideas that move from chord to chord, I like to break things down into key areas and find important spots to target in those tonal changes. This helps keep my mind from being bogged down on things like, well, what scale or lick should go with this chord? The next thing you know is that chord has already passed and a new one is upon you. Now the mind is trying to race to the chord you're on and you fall behind the progression. If you look at the chord progression to Lady Bird, there are a few different harmonic things going on. Here's some of the ways I view them. The song is in the key of C, and in measures 3 and 4, there's this 2-5 that goes to the key of E flat, but never fully goes there, as the cadence takes us right back to the key of C. Oftentimes, I will view these two measures with C major pentatonic and change the A natural to an A flat during those two bars. Then in measures 7 through 10, it shifts to the key of A flat major. Measures 11 and 12 are another quick 2-5 to the key of G major that never goes to G major because guess what? It takes us to a 2-5-1 in the key of C. The progression then ends with that classic Lady Bird turnaround, flat 3, flat 5, flat 3, back to the top. I like to pick my harmonic targets in spots where there are harmonic changes. What notes help highlight those changes? They in turn become my targets. This is the left brain side of improvising. The right brain, or the more creative side, gets to decide what tools to use to get to those targets and anticipating them before they happen. Let's take a look at a few of those from Ken's transcription. In this particular solo, I used two tools, probably more so than any other: chromatic targeting and pentatonics. Chromatic targeting, or enclosures, or about a dozen other theory terms, is chromatically approaching my target note. Pretty straightforward, as that's been a staple of the bop sound since Charlie Parker. Pentatonics are for melodic content, but it's not always the key areas pentatonic that I'm using. For example, take this line. I'm chromatically targeting the C, which is the third of A flat major, and then immediately thinking about melodic content using the pentatonic scale of E flat, which guess what is the 5 of A flat. It's a lot of the same notes as the pentatonic of B flat, but gives me a different texture. The line then finishes out chromatically targeting the C, which again is the third of A flat major. Many times when I'm harmonically targeting something, I'm aiming for either the 1, the 3, or the 5 of the key area. Now, one last example. It's a simple example of thinking ahead and anticipating the change. It's the very last measure of the solo. My mind was thinking ahead to C major, the C major chord at the top of the progression, and resolving the end of my solo. This entire measure, which has an A flat major 7 and a D flat major 7, was thought of as a C major and chromatically targeting the 5th, the G, and of course the 3rd, which is the E. Not exactly the note choices that would fit the best over a D flat major 7. Truth be told, I was actually thinking of C major over the whole last 2 measures of the progression before getting there. The reason why this works is because good solos balance tension and resolution. It can be done in a number of different ways, but when you introduce tension before really great resolution spots, like harmonic changes, it's incredibly effective. There's a lot of other cool things we could talk about that was happening in this particular solo. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out some of my courses or even check out some one-on-one lesson options in the links in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it has added value or benefit to your playing in some way. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell that's right next to it. That lets you know when another video comes out. And if you know any other musician who might find this useful, you can share it with them too. Until then, my name is Jason Klobnak, and I'll see you on the next one.